I was 14 when this happened. It was during my freshman year of high school, and I had just started staying home alone more often when my parents went out at night. We live in a small, quiet town in northern Michigan. It's the kind of place where you leave your doors unlocked during the day and know most of your neighbors by name. Our house is tucked at the end of a dead-end street, backed up against a patch of woods and fields. This particular Saturday night, my parents had gone out to a friend's 40th birthday party. My older brother was away at college, so it was just me. They left around 6:30 and said they'd be back before midnight. I remember that clearly because my mom made a joke about turning into a pumpkin if they stayed out past 12. They left me with some frozen mac and cheese, money for DoorDash if I wanted, and a long list of "call us if anything happens" reminders. I wasn't nervous at all. In fact, I liked having the place to myself. I was playing Fortnite with a couple of friends from school, headset on, lights dimmed, snacks everywhere, just a typical Saturday night. It was sometime around 9:45 when I heard the first sound. A thud, like something hitting the back of the house. It wasn't loud enough to scare me at first. I figured maybe a branch had fallen. It was windy that night, and we had a big maple tree in the backyard. I ignored it and kept playing, but then it happened again. Louder this time. I muted my mic and took off my headset. The house was suddenly very quiet. I could hear the wind howling outside, but nothing else. I walked downstairs to the kitchen and flipped on the backyard light. Our entire backyard was enclosed with a short wooden fence, and beyond that, nothing but trees. I looked through the glass of the back door, and everything looked normal. The tree was swaying. The lawn chairs were still where they were. I stood there for another few seconds just watching. Then, and I swear I'm not exaggerating, I saw something move just beyond the tree line. Not fast, not sudden, just movement, like someone had been standing there, dead still, and then turned to step back into the woods. I flipped the light off again, heart racing now. I tried to tell myself it was nothing. Maybe a deer. Maybe my imagination. I even texted my friend, joked that maybe Slender Man was in my backyard, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. About 10 minutes later, I heard something again. Only this time, it wasn't a thud. It was the gate. The wooden gate on the side of the yard creaked open. I know that sound. It's loud. It drags against the ground and has this heavy metal latch that makes a clinking sound when it moves. And that gate never opens on its own. Now I was panicking a little. I locked the back door and went upstairs to my room, making sure every window was shut. I called my mom, but she didn't answer. I tried my dad next. No answer either. Probably too loud at the party. That's when my phone buzzed a DoorDash notification. "Your Dasher is approaching with your order." Only I didn't order anything. I froze. At first, I thought maybe it was a glitch. Maybe my parents had ordered me something as a surprise. But I checked the app, I hadn't placed an order, and the delivery wasn't even addressed to me. It just showed, "Drop off side door." Our house doesn't even have a side door. I went to the upstairs hallway window, the one that overlooks the driveway and the front lawn. Sure enough, a car was pulling up. No visible logo, just a dark gray sedan, older looking. The headlights turned off, and for a second, I couldn't see anything. Then the driver's door opened, and someone stepped out. I couldn't see their face, just the outline tall, hoodie pulled up, and holding something. A bag, maybe. But instead of walking to the front porch, they walked around the side of the house, toward the backyard, exactly where the gate was. I backed away from the window and ran to my parents' room, locked the door, and called 911. The dispatcher was calm, but firm. Asked me my address, told me to stay on the line, told me to stay hidden and not to make any noise. She said officers were already en route. As I crouched in the closet with the phone pressed to my ear, I heard something downstairs, the back door handle jiggling, then more sounds, light footsteps, floorboards creaking. They were inside. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. My heart felt like it was thumping loud enough to give me away. I heard the steps getting closer, then they stopped. Right outside my parents' bedroom door, there was this awful silence for what felt like a full minute. Then came a knock. Just 3 soft knocks. No voice, no explanation, then nothing. It was dead silent for what felt like forever. Suddenly I heard a loud crash from downstairs, the front door swinging open, then voices, police. They came up and found me still locked in the closet. I didn't come out until one of them opened the door and showed me his badge. I broke down crying right there. They didn't find anyone inside the house, but the back door was unlocked. The screen was sliced, like someone had used a knife to cut it open. The strange thing was, the DoorDash receipt was real, but the name and number were fake. Just a throwaway account, probably made for that one order. Whoever that was, they knew how to use the system, and they knew I was home alone. To this day, we don't know who it was. The police took it seriously at first, but after a few weeks, there was nothing else they could do. My parents installed security cameras and alarms after that, and I didn't stay home alone again for a long time. When I was 17, I lived with my aunt and uncle for a year in a small rural town in Kentucky. They owned a modest little farmhouse tucked between rolling hills and forest, about 20 minutes from the nearest gas station. Quiet place, peaceful. The kind of place where nothing ever really happens until something does. I was finishing high school there after some family issues back home. My aunt and uncle were kind, and the area was beautiful. But that house, something about it always felt off to me. It sat on a slight hill with an open yard in the front and thick woods at the back. From my bedroom window upstairs, I had a full view of the yard and the tree line behind it. At night, it was just black. No streetlights, no neighbors, no moon most nights, just darkness and silence. One night, probably close to midnight, I was lying in bed watching YouTube on my laptop with my headphones in. Out of nowhere, I felt this weird sensation, like a static charge in the air. I paused the video, slipped the headphones off, and just listened. Nothing. Then, a light tap. I turned toward the window. At first, I didn't see anything. Then I leaned in. That's when I saw him. A man, completely still, was standing in the middle of the yard, halfway between the house and the woods. He wasn't moving, just standing there. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I swear his head was tilted up, looking straight at my window. I froze. He didn't move, not for a full minute. Then slowly, he turned and walked back into the woods. I waited another hour before I could even move. Eventually, I convinced myself it was nothing. Maybe just a hunter or a lost hiker. I didn't tell my aunt and uncle. I didn't want to worry them. But then it happened again. The next night, same time, I peeked out the window, and he was there again. Same spot, same stillness. But this time, I watched longer. I wanted to see what he did. For almost 10 minutes, he didn't move. Then, he slowly turned and walked toward the side of the house, out of my view. I ran to the hallway and glanced out the guest room window that overlooked the side yard. Nothing. I checked the doors, locked, windows, latched. I tried to sleep but barely did. Third night, he was back, but closer. This time, just a few feet from the house. I could finally see more of him in the porch-light glow. Ragged clothes, muddy boots, pale skin, and the most unsettling part, his mouth. It looked like it was smiling, wide, too wide. Still, he never tried to break in, never moved past the yard, but it was like he was waiting. After nearly a week of this, I finally told my uncle. He's a calm guy, ex-military. At first, he brushed it off, thought maybe I was dreaming or imagining it, but I insisted. So the next night, we both stayed up and watched from the living room. 11:57 p.m. There he was, standing again in the yard, watching. My uncle squinted, stood slowly, and said, "That's not right." He went to grab his shotgun and stepped out onto the porch. I stayed inside. He shouted, "Hey, you need to leave this property right now." The man didn't move, just stood there. Then, as if responding in slow motion, he backed away, one step at a time, until he disappeared into the trees. My uncle stayed out there another 30 minutes, but the man never came back that night. Next morning, we checked the yard. Sure enough, footprints, deep ones. They came from the woods, stopped near the house, then led back. But they were strange. The prints weren't consistent. Some were long strides, some looked like he'd been dragging his feet, and around the back of the house. They circled. Not just once, 3 full circles. It was like he was studying the house. A few nights later, my aunt and uncle had to attend a funeral out of town. I stayed back. I had school. That night was the worst. Around 12:15 a.m., I was brushing my teeth when I heard footsteps on the gravel outside. Not animal footsteps, heavy, slow. I killed the lights and crept to the window. He was standing right at the base of the porch steps. No more smiling, just staring at the front door. I ducked low. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Then came the knock. 1, 2, 3, slow, precise. I didn't move. Then, silence. I waited and waited. After almost 20 minutes, I finally dared to peek out. He was gone. But on the porch railing, I saw it. A small object. I waited until morning to go out and check. It was a rabbit's foot. Dirty, dried out, tied with twine. When my aunt and uncle got back, we reported everything to the sheriff. He said there'd been a few similar reports recently from other folks living near the woods. Always the same story, a man watching from the trees, never trying to break in, just watching. We installed motion lights, cameras, even started keeping a gun upstairs. But after that last night, he never came back. I wish that was the end. But even now, years later, every once in a while, I'll wake up at 12:13 a.m. with that same buzzing feeling, that static in the air, and I always check the window, just in case. This happened last fall, October of 2023. I was 23, and my cousin Riley had just gotten engaged. To celebrate, a small group of us decided to do something different. Not a party or a bar crawl. Something quiet. A weekend away. Riley's fiancée had a family friend who owned this old hunting lodge in northern Michigan, out in the thick woods, miles from anything. It was free for the weekend, and it sounded perfect. There were 5 of us total. Me, Riley, his fiancée Anna, and 2 of our friends, Jamie and Noah. We packed up 2 cars and drove out early Friday morning. The idea was just to unplug, drink, hike, sit by the fire, and not think about anything serious for a few days. The place was deep in the woods, like off the highway onto a dirt road, then another trail past a rusty cattle gate. No signs, no addresses, just trees. The lodge was huge, 3 floors, stone fireplace, and this long back deck overlooking nothing but forest. There were no neighbors, no cell service, just the sound of leaves and the occasional bird call. At first, it felt peaceful, but after the sun started to go down, it felt too quiet. I don't know how to explain it, just this weight in the air. We spent the first night hanging out on the deck with music and beers. The fire pit wasn't working, so we stayed close to the lodge. Around 11 o'clock, I went around the side to grab more wood from the covered stack. That's when I heard it. Branches snapping, not one or two, but like someone was walking nearby. Crunch, snap, pause, then again. It wasn't a deer. It was too deliberate. I aimed my phone flashlight out toward the trees, but couldn't see anything. Just darkness between the trunks. I yelled out something like, "Hey, you good?" Thinking maybe one of the guys was messing around. No answer. I backed up slowly and rejoined the group, not saying anything at first. Didn't want to kill the vibe. But later, after everyone else had gone inside, I told Riley what I heard. He just said, "Probably a raccoon or something." I wanted to believe that. The real stuff started the second night. Around 3 a.m., I woke up thirsty. The air in the room felt stale, like the heat had kicked on even though the thermostat was off. I got up and went downstairs for water. As I passed the big sliding glass doors by the kitchen, something made me stop. There were marks on the glass, smudges, long, oily handprints. 5 of them, side by side. Not like someone pressing their hand, more like dragging them, slowly, across the glass from top to bottom. The kind of prints you'd get if someone was looking in, with both hands pressed up, watching. I called Riley down. He looked at the door, then at me. Didn't say anything at first. We checked the locks. They were all still latched. No broken windows. No alarms. We turned on the back floodlight. That's when we saw it. Just at the edge of the woods, maybe 20 or 30 feet out, there was something, someone, standing between the trees. A pale shape, not moving, just there, watching. We both froze, then it stepped back, one slow step, and vanished into the dark. Riley swore, locked everything again, and we grabbed a flashlight to scan the yard. There were no footprints, no trails, nothing. Just that feeling, like something had been there a second ago and was maybe still there. We stayed up the rest of the night. I sat on the couch gripping the fire poker, listening for any sound. The next day, we didn't mention it to the others. No one else saw anything, and we figured maybe it was better to not cause panic. But that night, things got worse. It was about 1:30 a.m. I was in the upstairs bathroom brushing my teeth when I heard a knock. Not at the front door, not on the walls, on the window. Now this bathroom was on the second floor. The window was small, near the ceiling. No balcony, no ledge, just sheer siding and then a 2-story drop. But there it was. A slow, deliberate tap, tap. I didn't look. I couldn't. I backed out of the bathroom with my eyes on the floor and slammed the door. A few minutes later, Jamie came up from the basement, white as a ghost. He said he heard breathing, deep, raspy breathing, coming from the vent in the laundry room. It was the kind of thing that felt too unreal to talk about. But now we were all on edge. We locked ourselves in the living room that night, dragged the mattress from the downstairs guest room, and all slept in the same space. I kept the fire poker. Riley had a hunting knife. We stayed mostly silent, listening. At exactly 4 to 12 a.m., the smoke alarm in the hallway started beeping. Not a fire. No smoke. Just that high-pitched beep. And over that, footsteps from upstairs, slow, one at a time, crossing the hallway above us. Then a thud. Something heavy dropped. We bolted out the front door without our shoes or jackets. Just sprinted to the cars and sat there, shivering, until the sun started to come up. When we went back in that morning, the house looked normal. No signs of anyone else. No open windows. Nothing missing. But in the hallway upstairs, right where we heard the footsteps, was a dead squirrel, torn open, left in the center of the floor. We packed up that hour and left. Riley tried to reach the guy who owned the lodge, but the number just rang, and the listing, gone. The site said the page had been removed. We never got an explanation, but I still think about those handprints, the second floor window, the thing that was standing at the edge of the trees. Someone was out there, and whoever, or whatever, it was, it wanted to get in.